Everybody knows that video games are bad for society, right? You have the well-known video games such as Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto, which have been renowned for causing violent behavior amongst kids and young adults. These titles, along with other popular games throughout the centuries, have been demonized by the media, blamed for everything from poor academic performances to irrational outbursts in the media. However, against the stereotypes set in place by the media, it can be supported through academic studies that video games are good for you in multiple ways. There are currently myths associated with video games, which include they cause violence, they are addictive, and those who play them are extremely antisocial or nerdy. But today, these myths will be busted, and the truth on why video games are good for you will be revealed. When anyone is agreeing with the fact that video games are bad for society, the first point that they will use in their defense is that video games are bad for society because they promote violence. Yes, there may be some truth in that statement, but more and more statistics are proving that video games are not linked to violent outbursts by your kids, partners, friends, or co-workers. On April 6, 2011, Christopher Ferguson from ABC News discussed in an article titled "Video Games Are Not the Enemy" that violent video games are merely just another moral panic that society has decided to undertake. Moral panics have been around for centuries, and they are used by society to take blame for actions by kids and adults around the globe. Some of the previous moral panics include jazz music, Elvis Presley, comic books, Harry Potter, Dungeons and Dragons, rap, and now video games. The violent video game issue is just a crusade and a desperate search of a crisis. Games are without a doubt addictive, and this is currently the leading point of evidence in support of why video games are bad for society. But what if I told you that certain video games could be addictive for all the right reasons? Well, on November 8, 2013, Drew Ganari from the Huffington Post wrote an article titled 9 Ways Video Games Can Actually Be Good for You. Within this post, he discusses multiple reasons on how video games can enhance certain parts of the human body and the evidence to support this. According to the University of Rochester, shooting bad guys in video games can unexpectedly give you better vision. In 2009, a study was shown that expert action gamers who played Call of Duty compared to non-experienced gamers who played Sims 2 had a boost in their contrast sensitivity function, which allowed them to discern subtle changes in the brightness of an image. This is most commonly used in the task of driving at night. Now, through this video, I've busted numerous myths with compelling evidence to support my argument in why video games are in fact good for society. But why stop here? Many stereotype nerdy, antisocial males as the only ones who play video games. However, as you may have guessed, this is all just a myth. On July 24th, 2017, Mark Searles from Kotaku wrote on an article titled "How Australians Play Video Games in 2017," and the results were amazing. The average age for a gamer in Australia is surprisingly 34 years of age, while 46% of gamers are females. Yes, that statistic is correct, and this is further supported with females playing on average 77 minutes of game time per day compared to 98 minutes played by males. So although there are still more males than females, the idea of nerdy teenage boys is simply just a myth. To further support this argument, Dr. Deanna Galway from Arbitrary University consulted an article with the BBC to discuss the topic of "Can video games be good for you?" Within this article, they state that an estimated 1.2 billion people say they play video games, so thus the stereotypical loner male with the hundreds of empty drink cans and takeaways surrounding his computer is clearly a stereotype portrayed by the media. Many gamers in today's society like to party up and play as a team in their chosen game. A popular game currently in the media is known as Fortnite Battle Royale. The game has taken the world by storm, and as part of 2017 has estimated 3.4 billion players worldwide. Fortnite is notorious for partying up with your mates and playing in a squad of 4 people. An example of this is Twitch streamer known as Ninja, who has recently played a game of Fortnite with famous celebrities such as Drake, Travis Scott, Juju, and Marshmello. So for some nerd who is good at a game, I guess he ain't that antisocial after all. Therefore, from the various academic sources and examples provided in this video, it is quite difficult to state that everybody knows video games are bad for society. It feels as though it's only a very small majority of people who believe in this statement, and it will only be a matter of time before the moral panic of video games becomes a distant memory and a new moral panic is created by society.